The sun hung low, a smoldering orb cloaked in the dusky robes of twilight. Ra's celestial barge had navigated the horizon's edge, now mooring at the confluence of the eternal river and the sea of stars. His divine form shimmered with the remnants of the day's light as he stepped onto the shores of the Netter's hidden abode. Every night he was locked into a life and death struggle with Apep, the great chaos snake. It taxed his great strength, and even he wondered what the outcomes would be each night. He sought to shore up the security of order, to make safe the world for all. So he would consult with his two greatest advisors, Aset, who was the netter of magic, and Jehudi, who was the netter of wisdom. Great Aset, Ra began, his voice resonating with the gravity of his ages. Apet's malice grows ever more cunning. Her latest spawn, a serpent gifted with a darkness so deep it could devour the dawn. It threatens to unravel the tapestry of creation itself. Aset, her eyes reflecting the depth of the cosmos, nodded silently. She was the essence of wisdom, her presence an anchor in the tumultuous sea of chaos that threatened to engulf the world. My lord Ra, she replied, her voice a soothing melody amidst the cacophony of celestial warfare. To combat such guile, we require a defender, a being whose nature is attuned to the serpentine form, one who can slither through shadow as effortlessly as light dances upon the Nile. Ra's gaze met her, the spark of creation flickering in his eyes as he weighed her counsel. Within his vast intellect, the cogs of possibility began to turn, crafting the image of his new guardian from the ethereal threads of thought. Jehudi stood by silent and observant, his countenance calm as the surface of a moonlit pool. This netter, who was the scribe of the heavens, bore an expression that belied the keen intellect beneath his furrowed brow. Speak, Jehudi, Ra asked, the urgency of his plight infusing potency into his words. Your insight has often proved to be invaluable. Lord of Light, Jehudi said, his voice measured and clear. If balance is to be restored, we must conceive a being not only aligned with the snake, but also capable of outmatching its primal cunning. You must weave for us a creature that embodies the grace and lethality required to stand as your sentinel. Ra absorbed the wisdom offered by his two trusted advisors, his heart quivering with the anticipation of creation. The thought of fashioning a new life form sparked a wildfire within the heart of his soul, a blaze that was yearning to be shaped into existence. Then let it be so, Ra declared, the firmament echoing his resolve. The air around them thrummed with potential, waiting for the command that would birth a new legend. Then let us convene the powers at our disposal, Aset suggested, her gaze piercing the veil of uncertainties. Together, we shall forge this protector in the crucible of our combined wills, so she may rise as the embodiment of our hope. Indeed, Ra murmured, his thoughts coalescing into determination. A new defender would emerge, one whose essence would be as enigmatic as the night sky from which it was born, a champion to stand against the encroaching tide of chaos. In the sanctum of eternity, where time wove its endless dance, Jehudi stood with a presence that seemed to bend the very air with his wisdom. His eyes, reflective as the moon's surface, turned inward as he contemplated the shape of salvation. The silence hung heavy in the air, pregnant with the weight of impending creation. Let us look at the natural world, Jehudi offered, breaking the stillness, his voice carrying the timbre of ancient tomes. The snake coils and strikes with lethal intent, yet there exists one who treads upon the snake with innate sovereignty. All eyes fell upon the wise netter, their gazes wondering at the thoughts in his head. Aset's lips parted slightly in anticipation, a silent beckoning for the knowledge poised on Jehudi's tongue. The cat, he pronounced. The word itself seemed to claw its way into reality, sharp and full of primal instinct. Aset's expression shifted, a subtle play of intrigue and respect. Yes, the cats are poised, and their elegance belies their ferocity. They hunt with a silence that whispers death itself. Indeed, Ra murmured, his own thoughts mirroring the night sky, vast and dotted with the stars of possibility. The eye of the cat resonated within him, its potential energy crackling against his divine essence. Call upon Seshet, Jehudi spoke, his decree resounding like a gravel upon the pillars of the world. She shall inscribe the blueprint of this life, the sacred geometry from which our defender will emerge. Her claws will be the bane of scales, Ra envisioned, feeling the stirring of creation ripple within him, a surge of warmth akin to the first rays of dawn. The room quivered with the invocation of Seshet's name, and there she was, appearing as if summoned by sheer force of necessity. Her gaze was as infinite as the library she kept, a figure wrapped in robes, scribed with the knowledge of the ages. Great Seshet, weaver of destinies, architect of cosmic order. Ra addressed her with reverence, the air around them charged with expectations. We seek to cast a new thread into the tapestry of existence, one that is both of the earth and beyond it. Speak, O Sun King, Seshet responded, her voice the whisper of papyrus leaves. Craft for us a being that encapsulates the essence of the cat, a guardian with eyes to pierce the shadow, a hunter to balance the threat that slithers in the darkness, Ra intoned, each word an ember, igniting the path of future events. Seshet nodded, her hands poised above the material form that fates were woven. She began the intricate task, each movement deliberate, each symbol imbued with the essence of divine will. As she wrote, the dimensions of the room itself seemed to fold into the narrative that she created. Reality, bending to accommodate the birth of this new legend. Her spirit will be fierce, untamed by the sands of time, Jehudi whispered, his eyes reflecting the image of his imminent savior. Her form, lithe and agile, a testament to the dance between life and death. May her vigilance be unwavering, Aset added, the slightest smile gracing her lips as she herself envisioned the graceful terror that they were about to unleash on their age-old nemesis. And thus Bastet will come to be, Ra declared. In that moment, all present could feel the shift, a new power stirring, ready to spring forth into the realm of netters and men. Seshet's cosmic pen met the parchment, a mere whisper against its virgin surface. The nib, dark as the void between stars, exuded ink that seemed to pull the very light from the room, swirling itself with potentiality. Her fingers danced with practiced grace, each letter an invocation, each word a layer of muscle and myth. The air crackled in anticipation, heavy with their divine intent. Let her be swift, Seshet murmured, her voice low but clear, reverberating through the chamber like an incantation. As quick as thought, as silent as the night. Jehudi stood nearby, his gaze fixed on the unfolding creation, his mind already weaving the spell into his spellbook. With each stroke of Seshet's pen, he etched the corresponding symbols into his tome, the golden glyphs glowing softly against the ancient papyrus. Her claws shall be the spears of heaven, sharp enough to cleave shadow from light, Jehudi intoned, his voice harmonizing with the scratching of the pen. May she never know defeat, Seshet continued, her hand steady, while her heart thrummed with the weight of what they were about to bring forth. She could feel Bastet's presence taking form, a phantom touch at her senses, a purr resonating within the walls of her soul. Let her eyes hold the green of light, the emerald promise of dawn, Jehudi added, his own eyes reflecting the nascent verdacity he imagined. His fingers paused in their meticulous transcription, allowing himself a moment to marvel at the certainty with which Seshet wrought destiny itself. Her fur, Seshet whispered, a smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Let it simmer with the darkness of the chaos, an endless night where stars go to play. She felt a shiver of power course through her, the paper beneath her hand now alive with the energy of their collective will. Indeed, Jehudi murmured, resuming his careful inscription, she will be both beauty and terror, a force to reckon with the chaos that coils at our doorsteps. His thoughts flitted to the serpent, Apep, and the dread it inspired in the hearts of men and netters alike. Bastet would be their answer, the counterbalance to entropy's insidious crawl. Let her name resonate through the ages, Seshet said, the final stroke of her pen sealing the birth of this new netter. Bastet, daughter of the sun, shield of Ra, the cat of our creation. Her tale will be told, Jehudi declared, closing his book with a sense of finality, the new spell nestled securely within its pages. And let her hunt begin this very night. The chamber of creation was awash with tension that crackled like static against skin, a place where the very fabric of reality seemed pliable and responsive to the wills of those who stood within its bounds. Atum Ra, the embodiment of the primal force of existence, hovered at its center. His presence was commanding, and anchored to the swirling energies that emanated from his divine form. Within him surged the power of life itself, the kernel of order amidst the encroaching chaos. Let us begin, Ra intoned, his voice resonating through the chamber as he drew forth a scintillating orb from the core of his being. It pulsed like a heart, the rhythm of creation beating within it. A small sun that blazed with wildfire's ferocity, casting shadows that danced frenetically across the walls. Aset, her eyes reflecting the brilliant glow, stepped forward with a grace that belied the urgency of their purpose. From the breath of Atum Ra, she began, her voice weaving into the tapestry of light. We call forth the defender, the balance to the darkness we seek to devour. Jehudi, ever the scholar, his gaze alight with wisdom of countless eons, joined in the incantation. From the mind of Seshet, we shape the formless into form, he declared, his words an echo of the spirit that now lay dormant within his tone, awaiting for the breath of life. Atum's thoughts focused on the task at hand, the energy within his grasp malleable beneath the weight of their collective intentions. He could feel the pressure of the void pushing back, the unseen menace that lurked just beyond the edges of light. It was a battle fought not with swords, but with the very essence of what they were. The thought of Apep, the never-ending threat, fueled his resolve. This creation must succeed, he urged silently, feeling the weight of destiny on them all. Bind the light to our will, Ra's voice commanded, a fusion of his godly might and mortal determination. Shape it as a hunter, sleek and silent, a shadow against shadows. His words hummed in the air, wrapping around the glowing orb, infusing it with purpose. Let the heart of Atum Ra ignite the spark, Aset whispered, her outstretched hands challenging the nurturing aspect of her divinity, coaxing the wild energy to coalesce into something more tangible, more alive. Let the wisdom of Jehudi guide the spirit, Atum added, the power within him reaching a crescendo as he felt the first stirrings of consciousness flicker within the nascent form. Let the craftsmanship of Seshet give it form, Jehudi uttered, the finality in his tone a testament to the gravity of their creation. Together their voices swirled, a chorus of deific intent that reverberated through the chamber, bending the divine energy to their will. The orb responded, its surface rippling like liquid starlight as it began to stretch, to mold, to take shape under the guidance of these combined nectars. Let this be enough, Atum willed, pouring the last of his energy into the fledgling nectar, willing her into existence. Bastet, the answer to their prayers, the embodiment of celestial might and earthly cunning. She would face Apep this night, and every night thereafter, a guardian against the encroaching dark, born of their hopes and their fears, their power and their wisdom. The chamber of creation thrummed with the power of the ancient deities, a sacred place where stars were born and destinies forged. Within its confines, the essence of divinity itself coalesced, responding to the summoning words of the nectars whose voices wove the fabric of existence. Behold, Jehudi murmured, his eyes reflecting the depth of the universe, the dawn of our protector, the cat of Ra. The orb of raw celestial fire that had pulsed between them now began to undulate with purpose, the blackness of the void knitting itself as if spun by the loom of fate. Aset's lips curled in a silent prayer, her thoughts twinning with the energy, nurturing it with the tender care of a mother for her own child. From chaos, order, from darkness, light, Aset intoned, her voice a melodic thread in the tapestry of spellcasting. Atum Ra, a titan among them, felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders like a cloak woven from the night sky. It was a sensation both familiar and unsettling. Each act of creation, a gamble against the entropy that Apep sought to spread. His heart beat in time with the rhythm of the cosmos, a drum heralding the arrival of a new force in the eternal struggle. Let her be steadfast, he whispered to himself, a bulwark against the serpent's wrath. As their incantations reached a crescendo, the shape within the fiery orb crystallized, limbs stretching forth, a sleek body forming from the nebulous energy. Whispers of starlight clung to her form like dew on morning grass, until she stood before them in all her nascent glory. Bastet, the cat of Ra. Welcome, daughter of the sun. Atum's voice resonated with pride and anticipation. Your hunt begins tonight. Bastet's first shimmered, a tapestry of the night sky rendered upon her graceful frame. It was a black so profound, so saturated with the mysteries of the cosmos, it seemed to swallow light whole, only to release it in subtle glints that mirrored the twinkling of distant stars. Her presence filled the chamber, a tangible assertion of life that none could deny. Your essence is forged of the very heavens, Jehudi observed, his gaze analytical, yet not without warmth, a fitting garb for the guardian of Ma'at. Aset stepped forward, the lines of concern etching her face, softening as she beheld the nectar they had brought. In you, Bastet, we entrust the balance of all things. May your vigilance shield us all from the chaos that seeks to devour our world. May my claws strike true, Bastet responded, her voice a purr of determination. Her form was poised, a dancer waiting for the music to begin, the music of battle, of survival, of an unending war waged beneath the vault of heaven. Atum Ra felt the tension ease from his own form, a quiet satisfaction blooming within him. They had created a champion, a divine sentinel. Yet even as hope flickered within him, the shadow of doubt lingered, a reminder that the morrow was fraught with uncertainty. Tonight you will face the snake, he declared, his tone carrying the gravity of the duty bestowed upon her. And with each dawn we shall rise again, strengthened by your courage and your skill. In the silence that followed, Bastet moved, a creature of grace and deadly intent, her every motion a testament to the purpose for which she had been birthed. The Cat of Ra. The Cat of Ra, a legend-given form, prepared to stalk through the annals of time as protectress of order, her black fur and mantle of the infinite, her will an unbreakable spear against the dark. With the turn of her head, Bastet caught the flickering torchlight in her gaze. It sparkled across the vernet pools of her eyes, igniting them with otherworldly fire that mirrored the fervor of Ra's own celestial flame. The light danced within those emerald depths, casting lustrous shadows over the contours of her face. Your beauty is not just a gift, Ra spoke, but a weapon to beguile and distract your adversaries. Bastet inclined her head, acknowledging the compliment and the hidden wisdom within. She knew her allure was as much a part of her arsenal as the claws sheathed within her paws. Moving with fluid grace, she approached her father, her sleek form reflecting the subtle glow of divinity. Beauty can disarm the strongest foe, she murmured, her voice soft, yet laced with steel. Her thoughts, though veiled from the others around her, spun with strategic precision. Let Apep gaze upon me and falter, she mused. Let the serpent be ensnared by vanity before the strike. Indeed, Atum agreed, watching her with a blend of parental pride and tactical appraisal. But never forget, it is your spirit, fierce and indomitable, that truly defines you. Bastet's tail twitched in response, a subtle gesture of her readiness and resolve. She envisioned the battles ahead of her, her mind weaving through scenarios, each potential movement etched with clarity. In the silent dialogue within herself, she rehearsed the dance of combat, envisioning the serpent's death with each calculated step. Let us hope Apep is as susceptible to beauty as he is to venom, Jehudi injected, his tone carrying the hint of an impish smile. For if charm fails, your teeth and claws shall speak more convincingly. Aset watched, her gaze contemplative, sensing the currents of power converging within Bastet. And speak they well, she said softly, almost a whisper, yet carrying the certainty of prophecy. The chamber seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the clash of titans, this eternal struggle between order and chaos. Bastet, however, stood serene amidst a storm of anticipation. Her beauty, ethereal and commanding, was but the serene surface of a fathomless lake. What lay beneath was a warrior's heart, ready to rise with the fury of a tempest. Then let my presence be both bane and blessing, she vowed, the green of her eyes darkening with purpose. For I am Bastet, the Cat of Ra, and my radiance shall be the last light the shadow of Apep beholds before the end. Your adversary slithers in the realm of twilight, cloaked in dread and malice, Atum Ra intoned. Are you prepared to face the spawn of chaos? Bastet's response came not in words, but a subtle shift of her stance. She moved with the grace that belied the lethal purpose of every sinew in her body. The green of her eyes reflected the flame's dance, brimming with the predator's focus. She let her awareness expand, imagining the cold scales of Apep, the undulating horde that sought to unwind creation itself. Preparation is my nature. My senses are attuned to the whispers of scale against stone, a rustle of dark intent amidst the stillness. Then this will be a testament to your prowess, Jehudi observed, his tone laced with wisdom. Let the hunt begin, and may the balance tip in the favor of Ma'at. As she listened, Bastet's thoughts weaved through the landscape of her nascent memory, recalling the divine incantations that had breathed life into her form. She was a testament to their combined wills, a guardian birth to counter the serpent's menace. Tonight you will chase down fear itself. Tonight you will chase down fear itself, Osset whispered, a breeze that stirred the embers of Bastet's resolve, and you will emerge as both shield and spear for those who dwell beneath the sun. Let the stars bear witness, Bastet vowed, her words a velvet caress that veiled a core of steel. I am the hunt incarnate, the unseen terror of the night. By dawn, the serpent shall know defeat. With a fluid motion, Bastet rose, every movement a testament to her role as a protector, as a avenger. Her eyes narrowed, now mirrors of the Vernet deep, reflecting a destiny written in the heavens. Go forth, Bastet, Atum Ra commanded, his voice an ancient rumble that seemed to shake the very earth. Let the darkness tremble at your approach. She prowled toward the threshold of the chamber, where the boundary between the divine and the mortal blurred. There she paused, tail flicking with poised readiness. Her heart was a drumbeat, rhythmic and sure, echoing the pulse of the cosmos. Tonight, she thought, feeling the inevitability of the confrontation coursing through her, I am the balance that tips the scales. Tonight, I am the hunter, and the snake shall be my prey.